Top 10 mistakes to avoid when learning to sew. 1. Using the wrong type of machine needle. This may appear to be a little point, but it is crucial. Some needles are thinner and sharper, allowing them to stitch finer materials without snagging. Some are thicker and can withstand heavier materials like canvas or denim without tearing. The needle we use has an impact on how easily the needle travels through the cloth. 2. Not replacing your needle regularly. Even if a needle appears sharp to the touch, it really grows dull with frequent usage. A needle's tip can get dull through repetitive movement through cloth, much as using a knife dulls the blade after a few uses. Replacing the needle is a wonderful practice exercise, especially since they are affordable. For optimal performance, replace the needle after each project or two. 3. Not finishing your seams. Finishing a seam is either stitching the raw edges of the seam or covering the edges with bias tape. Either of these procedures will keep the cloth from unraveling and the seams intact. The completed edges have a cleaner appearance and will ensure that the product created lasts longer. 4. Not pressing your seams or using the wrong heat setting on your iron. Just as completing the seams results in a neater look, pressing the seams after stitching results in a neater appearance. This allows for simpler seam finishing, and the item will lie better if the seams beneath have been pressed flat. Fortunately, contemporary irons include low, medium, and high heat settings. If you're not sure the heat setting to use on the cloth you've chosen, ask the staff at the fabric store for help. High heat settings are more successful on 100% cotton fabrics. But lower heat settings are preferable for fabrics that include a greater percentage of synthetic materials, such as polyester or rayon. Using an excessively high heat setting may actually singe or melt the cloth. 5. Choosing the wrong fabric. Selecting the sort of fabric to be used for a project or a piece of apparel need a bit more thought than just choosing our favorite color or design. Is the project item going to be subjected to a lot of wear and tear? It is advised to use a heavier quality cloth or one that can tolerate regular washes. If a certain drape or texture is required, a fabric with synthetic fibers or a finer thread count may be acceptable. Some clothes may be specifically made for stretch knits, therefore that suggestion should also be followed. 6. Using your sewing scissors on paper. Don't do it. No excuse is good enough for excellent scissors to be used on anything other than cloth. Whether your children have a school assignment due the next morning, your significant other is in the mood to cut out paper snowflakes, or whatever the case may be, the edges of paper deteriorate considerably faster than the edges of cloth. The contrast between cutting cloth with sharp scissors and attempting to do the same with dull scissors is night and day. 7. Not taking your measurements or going by the size chart on the pattern. If you're making a garment, take measures for the bust, waist, hip size, and length from waist to ankle, among other things. This ensures that we've picked the right design for our size. Patterns are often supplied in a variety of sizes. Sizes 12 to 14, for example, may be marked on tissue paper for a single pattern. This allows us to adjust to our specific dimensions if we aren't a perfect 3/6, 2/4, 3/6. 8. Not pre-washing your fabric. Before beginning a project, always wash and iron the cloth. This not only removes any chemical residue from the fabric but also ensures that any shrinking occurs before the item being completed, rather than after. This extra step will save you a lot of heartaches later on. 9. Not cleaning your machine regularly. Cleaning the equipment on a regular basis keeps it functioning smoothly. Fibers accumulate in the region under the needle and in the bobbin area, causing the thread to clump when sewing a seam. Lubricate moving components lightly with machine oil, wiping away any excess. These procedures will assist to guarantee that your machine performs better and lasts longer. 10. Starting with a complicated project. It's a good idea to start with a project labeled beginning or easy. This is arguably one of the most crucial bits of advice for novices learning to sew. Choosing something that demands a higher skill level might lead to dissatisfaction and project abandonment. Starting with something small builds competence and confidence, allowing us to progress to more complex projects as we learn. Finally, knowing about these frequent sewing blunders gives us the confidence to create our own masterpieces. When we know what mistakes to avoid, the entire process of picking our project, selecting fabrics to find the one that most expresses our personality, and stitching together our one-of-a-kind masterpiece will be even more pleasurable.